Hello, this is Lisa from Happy Stamp, and today we're going to be making this card. I showed this on my Facebook page a couple of weeks ago and kept forgetting to, well, I don't know if I kept forgetting exactly. Yeah, I kept forgetting and it's been very busy. So I'm going to show you how to make this pretty card today. The only thing that I'm going to do different is I think this is down too low, so this needs to go up just a tad higher so that this can go up a little higher. Otherwise, we're going to be making the same exact card. All right. So the stamp set that we're going to be using and dies, musical season and musical instruments, and this is a bundle in the holiday catalog. Purchase the bundle and you will get 10% off. We're going to be using some Berry Burst cardstock, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So I'll get this folded here and take my bone folder, and I've got embossing powder everywhere because we're going to be embossing a couple of places, but I've got it everywhere here. All right. The first thing that I did, I'm bringing in a piece of scratch paper. I'm going to line this up along this edge here. Okay. Because I'm going to be stamping off, and I don't want to mess up my grid paper. All right, so I'm taking some Berry Burst ink so we can get a tone-on-tone effect with our stamping. I'm taking this little sprig that is in the stamp set. Now I have cut mine down. I was getting edges on my stamping, so I decided to trim mine down a little bit. Hopefully that will help the situation. So we're just going to randomly stamp, turning different angles on the stamp, just on the front of the cardstock. And you want to make sure you go on and off of your paper so it looks like it's a piece of designer series paper that you have cut up. All right, and then I think one more right here. All right, there we go. Put this away for the moment. And I'm going to set that aside so that it can dry just a little bit. I'm going to be heat bossing on the front of it, but it needs to dry. The ink needs to dry before we can do any of that. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of foil, our foil paper, and I'm just going to cut off because I don't like sticking the whole sheet in there because the embossing plates have a little texture, let's say, and it will imprint on the foil sheets and it ruins it. So we're just going to cut off a piece here. And I just took a pencil and it really didn't write on it, but it etched on it so that I could see where to cut. And then we will bring in our piece here. I'm going to bring in my Big Shot, so get ready for some wiggling. I've got my I've got my magnetic platform, my cutting pad, and I'm putting the cutting pad, the worst wear of the cutting pad down. This is pretty bad, but it's not as bad as the one on the bottom. All right, so I'm going to run that through, and I'm going to run it through a couple of times, probably like 4, because we've got some intricate design on here. Sorry for the shaking. And I want to make sure that it all comes out. And I will save this because there's still some good space on here to use. All right, so that came right out. All I have to do is pop out these few pieces that didn't pop out. Did very well. All right, okay. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my embossing buddy. I don't know if you noticed on here, but there is just a little bit of embossing on the French horn. I think that this is, not for sure. Sounds good to me. Right here. So I am going to do that next. We're going to need our embossing buddy there. We're going to I'm going to bring back in my scrap piece here because I'm going to use this again. Because I want to make sure that I don't, let's do it on this side. I want to make sure that I only get the design on this part of the horn, not over here. So I'm masking that off. I'm going to take this little swirly detail here, get my Versamark, ink that up real well, and that's just going right here on my horn. All right, good. Now I'm going to take my heat gun, and I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to let it heat for a moment. I guess it'd be a good idea if I put the embossing powder on there, wouldn't it? So we're going to bring in the silver embossing powder. And we'll get that on there. All right, that looks good. I can tell I haven't done a video in a while. I'm kind of rusty. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to bring my heat gun in, but I'm going to let it heat up because the foil can very easily scorch and burn if you let it stay in one spot for too long. So I'm giving my gun a chance to heat up. I'm going to bring this over. I can pick it up here. Because once it goes, it will go in a matter of seconds. And I'm going to do the back also. But you want to keep this moving. There it goes. All right, done. Now since I have this on, I'm also going to bring this in, and I'm just going to do the top of my card to make sure that my ink is dried, because we're going to be white heat embossing on the front of this card also. And you don't want the white powder to stick to the Berry Burst ink. So you could do this and then let it sit for half an hour or so. It's not going to take that long to dry, but the longer you let it sit, the drier it's going to be. All right, let's see how we did here. And the way to tell is I'm just going to bring in my embossing buddy. Get that nice and prepped. I just tapped off a little of the extra powder there. The stamp that says Peace, Joy, and Love, and it's got some little swirls at the bottom. And we will ink that up. Well, before I do that, let me bring in my white powder and let's see how wet or dry this is. So it's only sticking to a few places. So I'm going to go ahead and go for it here. But I am going to wipe it off before I start, and I'm going to re-prep it. Okay, and embossing buddy again. The reason I'm going to go ahead with it is because I can take a paintbrush and just wipe off the extra powder since it's only in a couple of spots. Alright, so this is going to go more towards the top than the last one. Make sure I have it the right side up. And it is kind of warped, so you're going to have to be firm when you press it down. Alright, not bad. Alright, so now we will take our white embossing powder. And flick that off. It looks like I got a lot of it off there. Get this put away so I don't spill it. Wipe off my surface here. Alright, so now we'll take our heat gun again. I'm gonna let it warm up again. If you heat up the back side, it kind of helps a little bit with the warping. Alright, I'm going to set that aside to let that heat embossing powder completely dry before I wipe off all of the powder that's on there. I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White that is 2 by 4 1/4. I'm going to take this washi tape that is in the holiday catalog, and this is in the Year of Cheer suite. I'm going to use this really thin silver here, and I'm going to put it right along the bottom, trying to get it as straight as I can. And this is so thin that when it comes off, it's kind of curly, so you kind of got to hold it as best you can. All right. And I'm going to try and get it about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. if you don't get it exactly, washi tape is meant to be picked back up, so it'll come back up. But I didn't do too bad. Fold that over on both sides. All right, then I'm going to do another strip about 1/8 of an inch up. It's more like a 1/16 of an inch, not an 1/8. Pardon me. And my measurements. Right. Fold it over. All right, and now this can go right on the bottom of our card. So I'm going to take some fast fuse. And let's bring it in my card here. Let's make sure I get all of, I don't have my Swiffer cloth with me, but usually I have a Swiffer cloth when I'm heat embossing to get all of the powder and the excess embossing powder that tends to go all over the place. All right, so here is, and I'm going to put this at about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. You can hear Hunter in the other room. Sorry, he didn't shut the door evidently like I asked. All right, and then here is our little French horn. I'm going to wipe all the powder off of that. Isn't that pretty? Just looks like a decorative piece. All right, now I'm going to take some of our basic rhinestones and my paper piercer. All right. I'm going to take some of these basic jewels. I'm going to take the medium size, and I'm going to just kind of highlight or pretend that these are buttons. And let's see, which side do I want them on? I want them on this side over here. More room. Oh, I got the adhesive on there, I think. Yeah. Okay. Let's take my adhesive eraser, wherever it is. Of course, I can't find it when I want it. I just had it. If you could see, I have a table and not a desk. I do my stuff on my dining room table because we don't ever use it for anything. So that's where I have all of my there we go. Got it. All right. And we'll take another medium one. And then one in the middle. All right. I'm going to take a circle of Berry Burst with my 2 1/4 inch circle punch. Punch that out. I need one of my silver snowflakes. We're gonna take the back of this, put it on, or on the front of the snowflake. Just like that. I don't want to press too hard because the adhesive will go through on my grid paper. Then we'll take the little instrument and I'm going to just take some wet glue and just in the big areas put some glue around here. Some of it, like this bigger part's not going to be on there, so I don't want to put it over there. And then this is going to go right on here. Just like that. Okay. Bring in my card front and some dimensionals. Stick that on the front of our card. Just like this. All right. Get a little better of a crease here with my bone folder. There we go. All right, that's better. All right, for the inside of our card, I'm going to take a piece of Whisper White that is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to take the stamp that says, "May the spirit of the season be the melody that plays in your heart all year long." And we're going to put that on the inside of our card with the Berry Burst ink. And I'm just going to trim some of this off also, because I know on my other card I got some of this on there. So I don't want to do that again. All right. Let's try that again. Make sure that's fairly straight. My Berry Burst. Right. Move that down a little bit so I can see it. That can go more towards the top than in the middle. Don't rock, just firm pressure. Yay. Okay. All right, done with the ink, and I'm going to take some more of this silver washi tape and just to tie in the front of the card. I will put some down at the bottom also. I know that ink is still going to be wet, so I'm going to really try to avoid that so I don't smear it. And one more. All right. All right, I'll make sure that that's dry. And we'll bring in our Fosfuse. And I'm going to put it right over the washi tape down there so that it stays put. And then this will go on the inside of our card. Like so. And then we are done. All right. So yes, definitely looks much better with it up higher. Yeah, much better. But if you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment below. Jump on over to my Happy Stamp Facebook page if you want to see pictures of this. And all supplies can be purchased through my online store at www.happystamp.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.